The NBA never sleeps, dude. It never sleeps. I was working on a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander video that I was hoping to put out before the start of the draft, but I could not, in good faith, drop a video like that without discussing or even mentioning this trade that just went down, or reportedly is going to go down. I don't think anything's confirmed yet, but I'm obviously talking about the Russell Westbrook trade getting traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I just want to say, some of you have been asking since the season ended where I'm streaming at or what I'm going to be streaming. I am streaming over on Twitch. Okay, the link will be down in the description below to follow me. I think it's twitch.tv/The Slightly Biased Show. If you want to follow me over there, just going live during the Olympic Games, discussing some of the moves happening during the offseason. Obviously, the draft is tonight. Free agency is right around the corner. So lots of stuff to discuss. And I'll be going live tonight over on Twitch. Again, follow down in the description. Around 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Central Time or so. And we'll discuss what has happened in the draft up until that point and some of the other moves we made. Because make no mistake, there will be other moves. There will be other moves made tonight. And we'll obviously discuss this trade in a little bit more detail over there. But let's get into it. Okay? Russell Westbrook traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, over the course of the season, there have been rumors, or the past couple of weeks, there have been rumors that Russ was really interested in going to LA, and LA kind of had this mutual interest, and now we're seeing that kind of come to fruition here with the trade. The Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and I think it's been reported that 22nd overall pick is going to Washington as well. So a pretty decent haul if you're the Wizards for Russell Westbrook. Jesus Christ. And if you are the Lakers, right, make no mistake. We're going to get into the concerns with this trade here in a second because there are concerns, right? There are concerns. But they improve. Make no mistake about it. They get better because you got to look at what they're getting rid of in this package. Montrezl Harrell was not going to be on the team next year. I don't think there's any scenario in which he was going to be on the team. The only reason he even opted into his contract was so he could get traded. Kyle Kuzma, I don't think was going to be on the team at all next year. In fact, he was apparently getting shopped to every single team in the league, and every single team in the league was like, "No, thank you." That's got to be quite the ego bruiser if you're Kyle Kuzma. In fact, it was only like 5 minutes before Shams reported the Russell Westbrook trade that the Lakers were reportedly agreeing to a trade with the Kings to send Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell for Buddy Hield. So you got to feel for Buddy Hield. For 5 minutes, he was a member of the championship contending Los Angeles Lakers, and now he's back to being on the Sacramento Kings and getting coached by Luke Walton. I don't know if it's even possible for that trade to still happen. I think I saw it would have to be a sign-in trade for Dennis Schroeder. I don't know why in the fuck the Kings would do that. I do not think the Kings would do that. Of course, everybody on the NBA Twitter thinks every other franchise in the league is only there to help the Lakers win. So I don't know. I've seen people on Twitter suggest that. It's just not going to happen. I don't see it. It doesn't make any sense. So again, Kyle Kuzma is not going to be on the team. Montrezl Harrell is not going to be on the team. So you're not really giving up too much production that you were expecting going into next season. Obviously, KCP, it's kind of sad to see him go, right? If you're a Lakers fan, you understand the importance KCP had. The role that he played on this team, spacing the floor, playing that perimeter defense, being that 3-and-D guy. Obviously, he was dog shit this past postseason, but everybody on the Lakers, not named LeBron, was pretty terrible in the playoffs against the Suns. So, you're sad to see him go, but you definitely make an upgrade here. Think about it. You're replacing Dennis Schroeder with Russell Westbrook. That's a huge upgrade. That is a huge upgrade right there, and you're really only losing KCP and the number 22 pick in this upcoming draft. It is a deep draft, but for a championship contending team like the Lakers, I don't know how much 22nd overall pick is going to be playing for them. Now, what is hilarious to me about all of this is that on NBA Twitter, we're going to be getting LeBron stans, Russell Westbrook stans, Lakers fans, and KD all forming together to form the Megazord of toxic fan bases on Twitter. It's going to be a complete and total nightmare. It's going to be way more radioactive than it already is over on Twitter for the next couple of months or so as this all plays out. Now, are there concerns? Yes. Do I think that this makes the Lakers better? Again, yes. But do I think it makes them like unbeatable powerhouse like some people on Twitter are suggesting? Absolutely not. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. Absolutely not. And the main reason why I'm feeling this way is obviously spacing and shooting. Now, I know it's a tired argument at this point. Everybody's talked about it. It's like beating a dead horse, but it's the reality. I know that there's that side of Hooper Twitter that says, man, spacing doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck? The Hoopers will get theirs. And that's true to an extent, but you're going to need the floor spaced out a little bit, especially with LeBron James, especially with Russell Westbrook in order for him to operate. Anthony Davis isn't really a shooter either, and you need to give him some space to operate. Like, it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out, how they're going to address that moving forward, given their lack of assets and the limited amount of money they have. So here's Russell Westbrook's three-point shot making. You see, he's just not a good three-point shooter. You have this one outlier season here where he won the MVP, where he shot 34% on 7 attempts a game. You know, again, that is a huge outlier, as you can see. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there are literally 0%, 0%. He is the 0 percentile of three-point shooters. He's literally the worst volume shooter in the entire NBA over the past, like, 4 seasons. So it is a concern. Now, I know the stigma around star players who go and play alongside LeBron is that they're going to become catch and shoot players. Russ is not a terrible catch and shoot player. 35% on catch and shoot 3-point opportunities this past year. 52nd percentile. You can see throughout his career, he's not horrendous at it. But dude, they're not trading for Russell Westbrook to be a spot up 3-point shooter. Like, let's just be honest. They're not trading for Russell Westbrook to be a catch and shoot guy. So I don't think you have to worry too much there. I will say this, right? The spacing is a huge concern. The shooting is a huge concern. But the playmaking is going to be fantastic. And transition. Oh my God, this team in transition is going to be a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. You have 2 of the best transition players in the history of the sport, Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, side by side. That's going to be pretty fun to watch. Obviously, everything else in between is going to be a question mark, but that is going to be fun to watch. Now, how is this going to work out? How are the Lakers going to form their lineup to maximize this talent? I think when the playoffs come around, Anthony Davis has to grow up and play center. I think that's just what it has to be. He has to play center for this to really work. I think you're going to have Russ play point guard, obviously. You're going to have a knockdown shooter at the 2, LeBron at the 3, or LeBron at the 4, wherever you decide to put LeBron, and another shooter, somebody who can space the floor, and Anthony Davis at the 5. That has to be what your playoff rotation looks like. I don't think this could work over the course of an 82-game season, mainly because Anthony Davis is maybe the most injury-prone dude in the league, and I do not think he could play center for 82 games. I just don't think he can do it. So it's going to have to be something like this in the regular season. Russ, a shooter, LeBron, AD, and then whoever at center, Drummond. Dude, this would be such a fucking funny lineup, honestly, if it's Drummond. I'm just imagining Russ and Drummond on the court together alongside LeBron. Like, dude, that team would be hilarious to watch. But they're going to get, the reality is they're going to get some ring chasers. I don't know really as far as like a stretch big, which would be really big for them. Somebody who could play the 5, sort of like a Brook Lopez, and stretch the floor. Those guys are not easy to come by. 1, they're usually expensive, and 2, there's not that many of them in the league. So I don't know, given their assets and given the amount of money they have, if they can find a guy like that, that remains to be seen. It would be huge if they did. But this is kind of what I'm feeling the lineup has to look like. Like, everybody else in their rotation has to shoot. Like, that has to be like their big strength. They have to be shooters. That's kind of where I'm like iffy on this trade, and why I don't necessarily think this makes them an unbeatable force is because shooting is important. It's a shooter's league. That's why guys like Davis Bertans, who we'll talk about in a second, are making $16 million a fucking year to shoot the ball and do that only. So I'm a little bit concerned because, I mean, Russell Westbrook, again, he's a terrible shooter. Like, let's just be honest. This was just in the bubble. Funny enough, against the Lakers, where they were literally leaving him by himself. When you have a team with LeBron, when you have a team with Anthony Davis, you need some space for these guys to operate. Because, I mean, think about it. Look at this. Look at this. This is on a Rockets team where everybody on the floor could shoot. This is the small ball Rockets where all 5 guys, they played 5 out, everybody can shoot. And defenses are still like, nah, I don't care. I'd rather just sit in the paint and guard nobody rather than guard Russell Westbrook out there. That's an issue, right? And Russ is going to have to improve his shooting for this to really work. So I don't know. Again, I don't really feel as if this makes the Lakers an unbeatable force, like some people on Twitter are crying about. I honestly don't really see that. But make no mistake about it, right? Take Russ out of the equation entirely. A team with LeBron and Anthony Davis, if they're healthy, they're always favorites. Like, they're always going to be favorites. So I don't know. This obviously makes them better, but I don't know if it's like puts them to that 2016, 2017, 2018 Warriors mold where they're like literally unstoppable if they're healthy. I don't really see that yet. That remains to be seen. So that's how I feel about the Lakers. For the Wizards, obviously, the big implication here is Bradley Beal. A lot of people kind of assumed whenever this news dropped that we would be getting some Bradley Beal news in the coming minutes, that he'd be demanding a trade or that he would get traded. And it sounds as if right now, you have to understand the time I'm recording this, it sounds as if right now Bradley Beal is going to stay in Washington. In fact, Woj tweeted out that they made this deal. Washington made this deal with Bradley Beal in mind to open up some flexibility. You got to ask yourself, if you're the Wizards and Bradley Beal, would you rather pay Russell Westbrook $140 million over the next 3 years, because that's what he's owed, complete and total albatross of a contract? Would you rather pay him that, or would you rather have some flexibility to make some other moves, even if it means downgrading a tiny bit, but having some flexibility to flesh out your roster a little bit more? I think that I personally would go with the latter. I would go with the latter, right? I always get that shit confused. I think I did that right. I would rather have the flexibility, admittedly, and it seems like the Wizards felt the same way. And you can see right here, Bradley Beal is opting to stay in DC. Now, what's hilarious to this, you see this ratio right here with the quote tweets. What's hilarious to me about this tweet in particular, and the replies to this tweet, NBA fans, we spent an entire season on NBA Twitter crying and complaining about the Brooklyn Nets, how unbeatable they were, how super teams were destroying the league, and they need to be complete and totally banned from the league. And then this tweet comes out, and everybody is crying and shitting their pants that Bradley Beal would rather stay in DC than form a super team somewhere. It's like, what do you guys want? Huh? You guys cry and complain about super teams all the time. Then Bradley Beal says, hey, I actually do want to stay in DC. I don't want to trade. I don't want to force a trade somewhere and form a super team. And then everybody cries about it. What I think it is everybody assumes, right? Everybody assumes that the next superstar to demand a trade is going to want to go to their team. So the idea of a super team for them is great because they think in their head, and I can attest to this as a Mavericks fan, they think in their head that, yeah, it's going to be our team. Like, we're going to be the next super team. And then when reality strikes and it's the Lakers or it's the Nets or it's going to be the Knicks or the Clippers or the Miami Heat, then all of a sudden it's not so fun anymore. Like, I don't know why certain fans, like, I don't know. Good for Bradley Beal. I'm happy for him. Like, I don't know why Mavericks fans would be pissed off about this. Bradley Beal is never fucking coming here. Okay? Ever. Just get that through your head. Good for Bradley Beal. I wish him the best. I wish him success. I hope he wins one. That'd be cool to see. Some of the other implications, obviously, what do the Wizards do now? Because, yes, they are going to they're going to take a bit of a step back, losing Russ, especially the way Russ played in the second half of last season was pretty great. It was all NBA, all-star level Russ. I wouldn't say MVP level, but all NBA level Russ for sure. So they're taking a little bit of a step back here. This Spencer Dinwiddie rumor has been going around for a bit that he was interested in playing in Washington. So I would like this for them. I like Spencer Dinwiddie as a player. Obviously, he's coming off of an injury where he missed the entire season, so that's a bit of a concern. And you might have to overpay to get him. But I like him as a player, and pairing him alongside Beal, while it is a step back, I don't know how big of a step back. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you, right? I don't know how big of a step back it's going to be, especially considering you're going to pay him considerably less, probably half of what you'd have to pay Russ over the course of their contracts. So that's something to keep an eye on. And obviously, there are these reports as well that Davis Bertans is now available. I don't know if they can get anything of value in return for Bertans. I highly doubt it. They'll probably have to add value in order to get rid of him, something like a pick or maybe a younger player, because his contract, he has 4 years left, making $60 million a year. Just a terrible-ass contract that I can't imagine too many teams are lining up to sign, to trade for. So when it comes to the Wizards, in this trade, I think we have to just wait and see. I think it's too early to say anything. I see a lot of people shitting on them, shitting on Bradley Beal. I think it's way too early, dude. They're going to open up some cap space to make some moves. We're going to have to wait and see what those moves are. We're going to have to wait and see what they do with the pieces they're getting in return. Kyle Kuzma, KCP, Montrezl Harrell. Are these guys they're going to keep? Or are these guys that they're going to try and flip for more assets down the road? We'll have to wait and see there as well. And on top of that, man, it's a young roster. We got to remember, like, Thomas Bryant was hurt pretty much all of last season. They're going to have him back. They're going to have Daniel Gafford for an entire year. They traded for him midseason, and he was great for them. They're going to have Denny back, right? He missed a good portion of the season after, breaking his leg or whatever. And Rui, another year of development for Rui. And Rui's looked great. Rui has looked great in the Olympics. He just dropped 32 points or something last night against Slovenia. So it's a wait-and-see game for the Wizards. I'm not ready to say that they lost this trade or was a disaster of a trade for them. I don't think that, right? I've seen a lot of Lakers fans really upset by this trade. And I wouldn't be necessarily really upset, but you do have to question the fit. Especially considering, you were just about to trade for Buddy Hield. And that, to me, I love that deal. I love Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell for Buddy Hield. I thought that was a slam fucking dunk for the Lakers. They get some spacing, and they're losing two pieces that they don't really care about. I thought that was a great deal. This one, I'm a little bit iffy on. I definitely think they improve, but I don't think they become like a powerhouse, unbeatable team like some people think that they are now. So let me know what you guys think. Again, I'll be going live on Twitch tonight around 9 or 10 p.m. Central Time, somewhere around there. Make sure you guys are following me. The link will be down in the description. Let me know, okay, guys? Goodbye.